lot more. So, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for the Eating as an Act of Worship Ministries radio show with our host, Ann Wooten Taylor. Well, good morning, my friend.
Good morning. How are you, William?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I see you have a guest in studio today.
I do. I do. One of your favorite people, my husband, Andre Taylor. He's going to be my special guest today.
Good
Now,
morning, William. How
this
you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine, man. This is rare. I think this is the first time in about 8 years. In 8 years, he's been on your show. Wh-
So it is. Yeah.
So, Andre, what took you so long, brother?
Hey, I let her do her thing. That's all.
Did she have to get in contact with your agent? Is that how that worked?
She is my agent, so yeah, she just told me to handle it.
Oh boy, this is going to be fascinating. So, what are you guys going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about the health benefits of marriage.
Oh boy. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to step aside. I want to hear this. Since I'm unmarried, I definitely need to hear. Okay. All right.
Well,
Well,
William, you making all these jokes, but you had Andre to come on the show. Well, what was it last month? As a gift to me. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but his agent didn't arrange that. I did. So no, you can't take credit for that one. That was fascinating too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's something that, husband and wife should do for one another, just, surprise them sometimes and play great music and romance and, the whole nine yards. So, look, I'm going to step aside. I got to hear this.
Look, William's excited about the show. That should tell you something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to turn off my mic and I'm going to go and check on some outside speakers and, see, what this sounds like. So, yep, this is going to be fascinating.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Ann Wooten Taylor. I'm the CEO of Eating as an Active Worship Ministries, and this is the Eating as an Active Worship Ministries radio show. Eating as an Active Worship Ministries is a nonprofit organization. We teach the biblical principles about the body, dieting, exercising, and maintaining a healthy body for the glory of God. We do that through our 12-week health and fitness course, which is about to start coming August 19th. That's right, it's a Monday. August 19th, 2024 at 6 p.m. on Zoom. So you don't want to wait. Go ahead and register today. And we're going to tell you how to do that in just a few moments. But first, it's time for your weekly motivation. Those of you who listen a lot know that our motivation is designed to encourage you to stay the course. If you've been doing well on your health and fitness journey, we want to inspire you to get up and try again if you stumbled or fell somewhere along the way. And if you haven't been able to find a reason to get motivated to take charge of your health and fitness, we want to motivate you to do so today through Christ. So today's motivation is about persevering in health and fitness. We want to talk about being a winner. All right, folks. Losing hurts. It's not just a painful emotional experience, but it also causes mental anguish as the moment of defeat reverberates in your mind repeatedly for days, weeks, or even longer after a loss. Moreover, our tears are often a physical manifestation of the negative emotional and mental pain brought on by losing. However, the degree of the distress felt varies from person to person and circumstance to circumstance. For example, young children often cry, throw temper tantrums, and they'll even quit in the middle of a game that they're losing due to their immaturity. In other words, they're still developing the coping skills necessary to deal with failure. On the other hand, older children who play competitive sports learn to practice good sportsmanship in spite of feeling the sting of a loss to another team. Although parents work hard to teach their children how to endure loss and persevere in spite of it, today's adults seem to have forgotten how to put into practice the very lessons they're trying to teach their kids. Specifically, too many adults are setting a poor example for their children in terms of mastering their increasing weight and achieving health and fitness success. Instead of staying the course, they give up in defeat because they don't want to feel the pain of losing another health and fitness battle. When a child sees this, the message is clear. It's okay to give up when it comes to losing weight and becoming free of eating disorders. However, 1 Corinthians 13, verses 7 through 8 teaches us that love always perseveres and love never fails. 1 John 4 and 8 says God is love, and we're made in his image, which is why we have the capacity to love. We should express our love for God first and foremost. Jesus said we prove we love him by obeying his commands. Accordingly, you're actually expressing your love for your Lord when you eat and drink for his glory in order to honor him with your body, which is a temple of the Holy Spirit. Furthermore, you should love your family enough to keep fighting for the long, abundant life you were meant to share with them. And finally, you should love yourself enough to never quit on you. If you can go extra innings for your teammates, be a team player for your employer for months or even years on end, or endure rainy, hot, or frigid temperatures to cheer your favorite team on, you can persevere through Christ who strengthens you until you obtain and maintain health and fitness success. If you're ready for Christ to become a health and fitness, if you're ready to become a health and fitness winner through Christ, purchase your copies of the Eating as an Act of Worship workbook and the Eating as an Act of Worship Teachers Edition online today at Amazon or barnesandnoble.com. Or, and I hope you'll do both, you can sign up for the Eating as an Act of Worship Ministries Health and Fitness course, which starts on August 19th, 2024. You're going to learn the biblical principles regarding the body, dieting, exercising, and maintaining a healthy body for the glory of God. Okay, if you can't take the class, then we do suggest you get the books. Don't forget, you can also read our weekly blog for motivation to stay healthy and fit through Christ. Follow us daily on Facebook, Threads, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Pinterest for recipes and diet and exercise tips. And tune into our syndicated radio show on iTunes, Spotify, The Narrative Matters the Narrative Matters Studio W Buzz radio station, and Victory KVDW 100.9 FM, 95.3 FM, and 1530 AM in Little Rock, Arkansas for interviews and health and fitness trends. Lastly, don't forget to make your tax-deductible donation to Eating as an Act of Worship Ministries at www.eatingasanactofworshipministries.org. Now, I know a lot of you are wondering, about the health and fitness class. How much is it going to cost? How long is it? What all do I need? Well, surprise, surprise, our class is free. There are no registration fees, there are no membership fees. The only thing you're responsible for is the cost of the Eating as an Act of Worship workbook. So go ahead and go online and order your workbook, or you can order one directly from us. Just send an email to eatactworship at eawministries.org. That's eatactworship at eawministries.org. In the reference line, put workbook for class, and we can let you purchase the book directly from us. We usually kind of undercut what you see online, and you'll get a bit of a discount. So we'd love to help you either way that it goes. All right. But we hope our motivation encouraged you to stay the course, that it inspired you to get up and try again if you fell down somewhere along the way. And if you haven't been able to find a reason to get healthy and fit through Christ, we pray you are motivated to do so today. All right, folks. Okay, okay. Again, I'd like to welcome to the show my very, very special guest, one of the most special guests I've ever had. And that's my husband of 25 years. This was supposed to be our anniversary special because our anniversary was last month, and we hit the 25-year milestone, and he agreed, surprisingly, to do this with me. But a few things, I normally give you a little background about my guest. My husband doesn't like for people to know much about him, so it's going to be skating through the park on this. But we met when we were 19, our sophomore year in college. We became the best of friends, and the following semester, that spring semester, he officially asked me to be his lady, and I said yes. And we have literally been together ever since. 4 years after we started dating, we got married. And we've had quite a few milestones since then. He's supported me through we supported each other through college, but he supported me through law school. 6 years into marriage, we had our first child, who is about to enter college, the same school where we met. So we come full circle. Um, and I supported him, of course, in his ministry work the way that he supports me in mine. In 2012, he became an ordained deacon. And it's amazing because at the same time, Eating as an Act of Worship Ministry was born. So we've been traveling this life together side by side for quite some time. I'm grateful for every second of life with this man. So let me just introduce my sweetheart, my love for life, Andre Taylor. Welcome to the show, my love.
Thank you. Thank
You're gonna probably have to get a little closer, speaking to the mic.
you. Okay.
Andre does not like the spotlight. I will tell you that much. Normally, he's working behind the scenes. Anybody who has taken the class will tell you he's always there. He's working the cameras. He's pulling my coattails about time. He's doing something that furthers the goals of the ministry. All the stuff that makes it work. Like he's our tech guy, even for this particular show. Um, but every now and then, it's amazing. Even though he tries so hard to stay out of the spotlight, he gets ushered into it. One of my favorite classes recognized him for all the hard work that he did, and gifted him because he did so much, and even though he was thinking nobody saw it, they did, and let him know how much they appreciate him for everything he does. And this is my way of letting him know that I appreciate you for everything that you do. But that said, we're going to talk about the health benefits of marriage, and I'm going to give you a big overview. Now keep in mind some of this was AI generated, so that's my disclaimer. Um, but research shows that marriage can have many health benefits, including longevity, mental health, lifestyle, sleep, even insurance benefits. And you'll never guess it, but even sex has a benefit when it comes to being married. And in regard to longevity, married people tend to live longer, are less likely to have heart attacks or strokes, and are more likely to survive major surgery. One study found that people in happier marriages had a 20% lower risk of dying during the study period. Mental health. Married people may have better mental health and are less likely to experience major depressive episodes. Poor social support, which can be more common for single people, has been linked to higher rates of depression, loneliness, social isolation, and all of those things can lead to poor health outcomes. Lifestyle. Married people may be more likely to eat better, exercise more, and take fewer health risks than single people. They may also be more likely to keep regular doctor's appointments and follow their doctor's recommendations, especially if they have a nagging spouse that's going to make sure that happens. And my husband's laughing. Sleep. Loving relationships can lead to less stress, which can help people sleep better and feel better refreshed in the morning. Evidence suggests that happily married couples are 10% more likely to have more restful sleep. Insurance. Married people may have access to family health insurance plans, which often offer discounts because they cover more than one person. Married couples may also qualify for lower premiums on auto and homeowners insurance policies. And finally, the one you've been waiting for, sex. Regular sex in marriage can boost the immune system, lower blood pressure, and improve heart health. It can also improve bladder control in women and prostate health in men. The act of having sex releases chemicals and hormones that can help the body relax and improve sleep. Now, as a woman who's been married for 25 years, I will say that I concur with a lot of the things that are listed here. On the one hand, when it comes to mental health, I've told you guys on several occasions that since elementary school, I've dealt with clinical depression. Those episodes became fewer and further between since my husband and I got married. I didn't say that they went away, but I can pretty much point to when they happened. And there have been years and years and years in between those. One of them was postpartum depression. Of course, if anybody who suffered from clinical depression knows that you have a greater risk after having a baby of falling into depression. So my doctor and I actually kind of talked about it beforehand and expected it. And true enough, it happened, and so I ended up needing to take medication. But at the same time, fast forward, think about what was it, 8 years before I had another issue that was, noteworthy. So that just gives you some perspective on how it's been beneficial for me in terms of lifestyle, eating better, exercising more, taking fewer health risks. Um, Very often when you have somebody who's willing to work with you, driving each other or forcing things on you.
I will say on the lifestyle, you have always tried to get me to eat better.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you first started the ministry, I had issues because I wanted to know where the lines were drawn. You had that blurb in your books about the eating too much, and I want to know how far or where that line was. I remember you talked about the Twinkies, and I'm like, okay, is one Twinkie gluttony? Is a box gluttony? Where's that line at? So
right, right, and it's not that cut and dry. But yeah, Andre wanted some hard and fast rules about where can my toe go over the line. And then on top of that, being willing to work together, being willing to, okay, come up with a plan that who's going to work out with the kids, how we're going to, who's enforcing the rules when it comes to the kids. And then, doing stuff that can sometimes irritate the other person. Like Andre needed something done at the doctor's office. I want to make sure he got done. So I called the doctor's office and said, he's got an appointment today. He needs this. And he wasn't happy. It got done. And of course.
And then there's those times where I accompany you to the doctor.
Yes.
To make sure that they get all the relevant information because you like to gloss over some things that happen.
And not only that, Andre says when I come home, I only give him the favorable highlights. So as to what the doctor says. So we are like a checks and balance system on one another. I want him to stick around because I love him, and he wants me to stick around because he loves me. So we make each other do things more than likely that we wouldn't do ourselves. Like if somebody's feeling bad or somebody's hurt, I'm the first one to say, you're going to the doctor. And then when it turns around, it's my turn. Andre's like, okay, so if this was one of us, what would you make us do? Okay, fine. You're right. We'll go to the doctor. Recently, if you don't mind me sharing about the most recent time.
I will say that I guess back in December I did pass out. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I wouldn't have gone to the doctor for. But when you got home and noticed that you was like, we're going to the doctor now, or I'm making an appointment later, and I forgot how you worded, but we ended up going, and they did find something. Mm-hmm. And if we hadn't gone, I wouldn't have known about that. Mm-hmm. Luckily, nothing happened. They found some nodes or something on my thyroid when they did the CT scan. After months and months and months of follow-up visits, everything is fine. But I wouldn't have known about that had I not gone. And I wouldn't have gone had you not insisted.
Right.
After you came. So.
He, the boys were with him, thank the Lord, so he couldn't hide it.
Yeah, I probably would have told you.
Right. He would have kept it to himself. And so they were freaking out because he wouldn't let them call an ambulance. He's in dad mode. And so I just pulled up, getting home, and they're like, Mom, he just collapsed and he woke up and he says he's fine. I was like, okay, you're either going to get in the car and we're going to the doctor, or I'm calling an ambulance and they'll take you. The look on his face was, I really don't like you right now. but nevertheless, I was like, I will take you where you want to go if you get in the car. But if you make me call an ambulance, we're just going to the hospital. And so we went to a clinic, in those after hours clinic, and they told him, you need to go to the hospital. We can't help you here. And that's when he acquiesced and
Yeah, we did go to the clinic.
Yeah, we went to the clinic first. And they saw nodules on his thyroid, if I'm not mistaken. And thank God they're non-cancerous. But we found out about it, and he only has to take medication. I mean, and if we hadn't found out about it, who knows what would have happened? Well, Harvard's blog says that they know what would have happened. According to them, people who are married, there's evidence that, let me find the exact spot, because that they are less likely to have advanced cancers, because, well, you have each other play. You've been playing off of each other, so to speak. And I want to add that the Harvard blog makes it clear that none of the evidence in support of these theories proves, or refutes, health benefits, in regard to marriage. So if there's a health benefit to marriage, the process, rather the precise reasons aren't known, but researchers are continuing to study the question. These are just some things that have been noted anecdotally, and research is suggesting, that these things happen, but there's no definitive proof one way or the other. I will say this, in terms of finding cancers earlier, or conditions earlier, from the beginning, one of those things has been that Andre and I have really been concerned about health and fitness together. We in college worked out together, irritated each other, which is why we rarely work out together now. We go for walks and stuff together, but going to the gym, some people do that well, some people don't. But we always stayed on each other, also about going to the doctor. And this one particular occasion, I remember early in our marriage, I went for my annual, and I came home, and I think it was like first couple of years, 2-3 years marriage. And Andre pulled off my coat because it was, I think, January, and I had stick marks on both arms, a hand, and everything. And he was just infuriated. He's like, "What did they do to you?" And he found out the hard way, I have smaller veins, so it's harder to stick me. And so they end up digging, around in different different parts of the body to figure out what's wrong with me. But in 2012, I went for an annual exam, and I had an abnormal pap smear, and they suspected that I had cervical cancer. Very hard phone call to receive, especially when you are at work, and then to compose yourself enough to call your spouse to because you don't want to worry him. So I cried and prayed and cried and prayed before I got on the phone with him so that I wouldn't freak him out. Um, and even though, you do all that, still the I love you, so I'm going to protect you. I love you, so I'm going to be in this with you kicks in. And so he left work. He came to get me. We went straight to the doctor's office, and thank God that they were precancerous cells. But if we weren't there for each other, sort of sort of saying, you need to go do this, you need to go do that. And it gets to a point where it becomes rote. He doesn't have to tell me to go to the doctor. I don't like it. He very often will go with me. And vice versa. We get it done. The funny thing is how much help you are when we get to the doctor's office.
I always help with the blood pressure reading.
Yes.
Down so
yeah, he does help with the blood pressure reading.
But I am no good with the shot. I don't want to see the blood, any of that stuff. But
no.
I thought I could help in that situation. Sorry.
It is always hilarious. With the precancerous cells on my cervix. Thank God, when we first went to the doctor that day when they called me about the abnormal the abnormal cells, it was really a serious conversation. They were saying that I might need chemotherapy, I might need radiation, I might need a hysterectomy. And Andre was like, just cut it all out. I don't care. And I'm like, hold on. Doctor's like, okay, we need to test first. And then come to find out it was just about a third of my cervix was covered with precancerous cells. So I had a 15, 30-minute procedure in the doctor's office. And Andre was there with me. Now, keep in mind, I am the one getting stuck with these huge needles to numb me up, and my husband's there with me. But he's wincing and he's jerking, and it's like it's happening to him. And I'm trying myself to act like I don't feel this big old needle, which the doctor referred to as a 12 gauge, no less. But at the same time, the fact that he was there and the wincing and all that, I ended up laughing. And the doctors thought I was crying and that they had numbed me up enough. But I could see Andre in the corner of my eye, and it got me through the procedure. So what we're telling you is this: having that person there with you, especially somebody who cares enough about you to stay on you about your health, to make sure that you do your part to so that the both of you can get to your happily ever after, forever and ever, is a benefit. And not only that, spiritually speaking, when we're both going through, like when I got diagnosed with before I got diagnosed with hypothyroidism, I didn't know why I was gaining weight when I was doing everything I was supposed to do, and it was hard. I was crying. I was really upset most of the time. Andre would pray with me, encourage me. He still does, especially given what I look like now from what I was looking like at the time. But he's loved me through it. He's still loving me through it. He's still helping me and encouraging me, even when there are days like what we were talking about today. It's amazing how the Lord picks the things that we're going to be talking about, encouraging, when I just don't want to try anymore, when I want to give up, because it's like everything I do is it helping. So I'm appreciative that I have somebody who, when I can't put into words how to pray, when I can't encourage myself, he still believes in me. He can still encourage me, and I do the same for him. What do you think?
Well, sometimes, people are a lot harder on themselves than we are on each other. So I may be really going through it, and I may think I've really, really messed up, but you're able to be more objective when you look at everything that's going on, and you can help guide me through it. And you remember, okay, you remember whatever scripture it is, that you can help me with, like, all things happen for a reason. You just help me, bring things back to my remembrance so that I can focus more, and I quit dwelling on all the negative things that I see that, seem to be magnified, but it's really not that big of a deal, but I just think it is,
right?
And then I help you in the same way. So that's one of the things that we really are good at when we're bouncing off each other.
Right. I agree. And thank you, baby. I appreciate that. I didn't know you saw it from that point of view, from that perspective. Um, you know, sleep, I will say this, and women will tell you, a lot of women will tell you that for some reason, watching a man go to sleep is like, how do you do that? It's like a magic trick. My husband can lay down and I can literally count 30 and he is sound asleep. And before we met, I had difficulty sleeping. I will say that after we got married, I sleep a whole lot better. I fall asleep more easily. I still don't fall asleep as quickly as he does, but I've I don't have the the issues with sleep that I did before we got married. It's amazing how it leveled out, and it took it. And I'm not gonna say it happened all at once. At first, I was still having difficulty sleeping, but with time, it got less and less, and it improved quickly. And my husband still to this day, we're married 25 years. Like, am I snoring bothering you? I'm like, no. As a matter of fact, I love it. I don't know why, but for some strange reason, um, it was always comforting, always helped me to get to sleep. And I used to wonder, how my mom dealt with my dad snoring. I'm like, because we could hear him all through the house. And so I'm like, oh, I get it now. I love him. He snores. It's okay. um, and for some reason, it just works with um, with helping me to get to sleep. Another thing is you pay attention. It's the difference between his normal snoring and when something doesn't sound right. And one time he did something that kind of scared me. It was supposed to be a snore, and I started talking to him about going to have a sleep study, and lo and behold, um, he was discovered to have sleep apnea. You, I don't know if you're still mad at me about that.
No, it's all right. I
Yeah.
they gave me the little machine. I took the little test. It does help, but I don't always like using that CPAP machine. So, uh, but again, that's something I never would have gone to the doctor for.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have noticed that because it didn't bother me.
Well, it wasn't a problem until one night it sounded like you quit breathing. And I listened to you snore all the time. So that had never happened before and it scared me. But other than that, you know, um, I think part of loving somebody, truly loving somebody, is you you don't want to change them because changing them will change them, and then they won't be the person you love anymore. Now, that said, that I'm not talking about somebody you're okay with them having a drug habit or being a criminal. I'm not talking about that, but I'm saying there are just some things that, like for instance, right before the show came on, Andre decided to tickle me. And that is just who he is. We play a lot in this relationship, so um, I don't want to change that. I don't want to change who he is. Um, and so you deal with it, but then there are other things that need to go away. And so hearing something change in the way that he snored was something that we needed to fix. And I think that's kind of what you were talking about, how we're harder on each other, but if it's a real problem, you're gonna stay on it. And or I'm gonna stay on it. Like, I hate getting my blood pressure taken. It's a real issue. I don't like it. And it wasn't a problem before. It became an issue um when my mother went into renal failure, and it was 2020, beginning of the pandemic, and she looked like she was going to die. They, when you're watching the ER scenes or whatever on television and they're moving fast and they getting you out of the way and all that, and her blood pressure was everywhere. One minute it was sky high, and the next minute it was rock bottom. And so they told me she was in complete renal failure, and anybody who knows anything about your kidneys knows that's bad. And so since then, I've kind of had an issue when it comes to going to the doctor. It didn't bother me before, but I know it's the enemy attacking me now. And so my husband's like, I don't care. We're gonna take the blood pressure. and, and he had put me on the schedule. And believe it or not, it helps. The more comfortable I am with him doing it and knowing that it's normal, it gives me a lot more assurance when I go to the doctor and have it done. So this last time when I went to the doctor and he was with me, it was a really good reading. Even though I was still having those little anxious thoughts, and didn't want to be there, it was normal. Which, if I go by myself and I wasn't telling Andre all that was happening at first. He was like, "What in the world is going on with you?" But not only that, when something's wrong with me or something's wrong with him, it bothers the other person. So I think it affected your blood pressure because it affected his because I was having such a hard time.
Yeah, it's funny how that those what they call them, the sympathy pain.
Yeah.
We seem to always get that same type of stuff.
Mhm.
Remember, I didn't have blood pressure issues till after you started having them. Yours went up, then mine went up.
Right.
Then you got on blood pressure medicine, then they put me on it.
Yeah.
So it. But when you get your blood pressure checked, when you go, you get nervous about it, and it bothers you, but it doesn't bother me.
Mhm.
So I'm able to help calm you down
Mhm.
and help you relax in that situation because I don't know what's going through your mind, but it seems that you relax more when I'm there with you. If I didn't go, they would get a higher reading and they would think something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
But if I'm there and I, have my list of readings that we've taken throughout the weeks, then they know that okay, this is just a bad reading and she's really not in distress,
Right.
or stressed
Right.
out like it seems she is. So
And it drives the anxiety because when they think that there's something wrong with me, then it feeds into the evil spirit of fear's lies, saying, "Told you something's wrong with you," and all of that. And so that makes it worse. And I try to tell the doctors, no, this is what happens, but they don't listen to me. I'm like, no, you can't take it again. We've already done it. We know what it is, and they want to keep taking it. They want to give me medicine. They want to make me sit there for another half hour to see if the medicine's working. I'm like, you are making it worse. But it's amazing. They do a William, like when something's wrong with the radio stuff. William don't want to talk to me. He wants to talk to you, and I will be trying to put my. Just tell Andre to call me. He talks all over me. Well, the cardiologist does that when it comes to Andre. Andre comes into the doctor's office with me, cardiologist. He's a friend of ours, as a matter of fact. He don't even look at me. Sometimes he just talks to Andre like I'm not in the room. And I'm like, I'm right here. I'm right over here. But it's like he doesn't trust me. He gonna trust what Andre said. So when we took Andre to the doctor because they were ruling out a lot of stuff when he had that passing out thing, and so we went to the cardiologist together, same one. He was still talking to Andre. I'm like, you're supposed to be talking to me now. You're supposed to listen to me because Andre's the one who had a problem. But at any rate, it's a tag team. We want our family to work. We need to be here for each other. We need to be here for the kids. We need to be here. I take care of my mom, and we have extended family members and friends. Andre's mom, she is very independent and self-sufficient, but still we do a lot, and when it comes to her too. So all these people need for us to be healthy. and we need for us to be healthy, and God commands us to take care of our bodies. So um another thing, the Lord says his body isn't his, it's mine, and my body ain't mine, it's his. So we have some authority in terms of saying, okay, you're gonna take care of this body because I need you to be here for me. You are part of my, abundant life that the Lord promised. So I believe, just having that person in your life who cares about you on that level means a lot. Now, the insurance thing, I can attest to that. Our insurance thing got better when we got married. And then coupling our home and auto insurance, that got us some discounts. So they're right about that. We have had some benefits when it comes to that. Now, excuse me. The thing about a healthy sex life, I know when it comes to Christianity, the church makes it seem like there's so many taboos. I mean, even after you get married, Christians can make you feel like, just talking about sex is an issue. That is a part of the abundant life. The Lord says he wants you to prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers. So having a awesome personal life with your spouse in every aspect is a good thing. Now we told you about all these, you know, wonderful aspects um, of benefits to being married. So what happens if you're married or if you're single and you're not getting all of that? That's something that's completely different. I've known people, worked with people who did not want to go home because their marriages were so toxic. Um, I mean, would rather stay at work where they didn't have the best work life, but work was better than home. It is a very sad thought for me to think about not wanting to go home. But for the people who are living, in those types of situations, that could be just hellish. Where do you go if your boss is on your nerves at work and then you can't come home to de-stress from that? You can see how people probably get into some bad habits, or spend money that they shouldn't be spending because they don't want to go home and they're trying to do anything other than go home. Um, I don't know. What do you think about that particular?
Well, you have to start off right. You
Mhm.
have to get married for the right reasons. And I know some people who didn't
Mhm.
get married for the right reasons. You mentioned some stuff. You can't look at a list like this and say, "Ooh, I want to get married for a lifestyle," or "I want to get married so I can have better sleep," or
Right.
you can't look at it that way. You have to be married because you love that person.
Right.
You get
Right.
along with that person. You're compatible with each other.
Mhm.
You like being around each other. You can't skip any of that.
Mhm.
There's no sense in marrying somebody just because they've got money. I mean, some people do,
Mhm.
but that may not last.
Mhm.
So the looks may not last, money may not last. You have to just make sure you have the right foundation.
Right.
That you can get along, that you are compatible, that you both like the same things.
Mhm.
You know, we're on the same page with a lot of stuff.
Yes.
But I knew some people that got married that weren't
Right.
on the
Right.
same page. They just liked the idea of being together,
Mhm.
or they didn't want to be alone, so they just found somebody.
Right. Right.
That's not enough
No.
to get you through some stuff. You know, because things happen.
It's the way you put it about us being on the same page. It's funny because we have even gone off on people in unison, saying basically the same stuff. I mean, almost verbatim, the same words at the same time. Um, and it's a blessing to be able to walk with someone through life that you agree with, because the Bible says, how can two people walk together and they don't agree? And I think that's kind of your first clue. You need to be able to agree um on a lot of things. And don't get me wrong, that's not to say we never disagree. For instance, date night, what you want to eat? I don't know. You choose something. That's a trap. I know that's a trap because what I choose, he is not going to want in the end. Um, so and even when I cook stuff, baby, what you want? I don't know what I want to eat yet. Okay, I'll make dinner for everybody else. And if you don't want that, you make your own stuff. So yeah, there'll be things like that, but those are minor. We're talking about major things like how you gonna raise your kids. Um, are you are you both believers in the same God? Are we going to get a new car right now? Are we gonna ride the one we have till the wheels fall off? It's You need to be able to agree. And not only that, folks, Andre made a really good point. Marrying somebody just to be with somebody is not going to get it, because when you realize you don't like this person, then what do you do? And you said for better or for worse. The thing that I thank the Lord about, when it comes to me and Andre, is that we're still the best of friends. We still laugh, we still play, we still run to each other when something happens. We still thank God for the same things. And when something goes wrong, we're there for each other. If nothing else happens, we're fighting together against whatever that is through Christ. So I think that makes a lot of difference. I think all these health benefits that they're mentioning will go the opposite way if you've got somebody who's, say, in an abusive marriage. Um, as a matter of fact, in a few weeks, we're going to have somebody on who's going to be the exact opposite of this. So I'm glad we kind of had to postpone the show, because we have a man who's going to be on talking about his book, which I can't even say the title of it, but it's about his experiences with online dating and how the relationship turned out and how it messed with his mental health, and his financial health, and so many different ways. And that's another thing you need to think about. There's more to it than just what happens to you physically. We've got You got the financial aspect, you've got the spiritual aspect, you've got so many things that go into making you and making a life together. We were trying to explain to our oldest son recently about this very topic. He liked this particular girl, and we were like, okay, there are a lot of red flags there. And he's like, but those are her problems, not mine. Well, when you invite somebody into your life, you correct me if I'm wrong, you are inviting whatever is attached to that person into your life.
Their problems become your problems. Their family becomes your family. Their friends become your friends. So if friends have bad habits, you need to be able to deal with that, because you may pick up those bad habits. Those bad habits, for example, if somebody drinks a lot, if your friends drink a lot, you may be inclined to go drink with them, but that could cause problems for you in your marriage. If your friends are cheating on their spouses or on their girlfriends, then that could kind of rub off on you. So you need to shy away from people who that have those type of behaviors.
And similarly, if you are dealing with somebody who has an abusive relationship with, those folks tend to like to ostracize the person that they're with from other people. So they'll threaten they'll threaten you, they'll threaten family members. They will do all kinds of stuff to isolate that particular person. There's so much that goes into it. Who this person is surrounding himself with, the habits that they have, him or herself. All those things matter. Now that's not to say that just because somebody has an happy childhood that you shouldn't be with them, or that people can't change once they are, released from prison or something like that. That's not what we're saying at all. What we are saying is, you need to look at everything that's going on, the totality of the circumstances. It's one thing for somebody to be working towards bettering themselves, in spite of the issues that they've had, that they've beaten being an alcoholic or a drug addict, or they used to be homeless, but now they've gotten a degree, or they're working towards a degree, or a job, or whatever. Those things are different. What are you doing now? What type of issues do you have going on in your life right at this moment? And are you at a place where you should be starting something new, or do you need to deal with what you got going on first? And that's the type of stuff when it comes to relationships, some critical thinking, and guarding your heart, as the Bible says, it is really important. And this person may be mature, um later, mature enough to, or enough to have a relationship later on, but at this point they may need to deal with some things, before they're ready to. I don't know what, I don't know if I put that in a good way. What do you think?
We were talking about red flags
Mm-hmm.
earlier. Some people just may not be ready to be in a relationship.
Right.
You have to have your mind right,
Mm-hmm.
the right frame of mind. If you're one of those people that doesn't want anybody to see your cell phone because you've done some stuff,
Right.
then you've got some things you need to work on. But being in marriage, you have to be open with each other and honest with each other, and you have to do your part. You have to do right. Some people don't want to do right. If you're not willing to put forth the effort, then you may need to. It's something you have to work on.
Right.
You have to be willing to put forth that effort if you want the marriage to succeed, and it can. It definitely can succeed. You just have to make sure you do your part.
Right.
It's not as easy as some people make it look, but it can be done. It definitely can.
Andre just brought two things to mind. The first one is, there are two. Well, I won't say two. There are several schools of thought. Some people say it's a lot of work. Andre's one of those people who say it's work. I'm one of those people that's like, this doesn't feel like work to me. It's like the radio show. It's like writing. None of those things really feel like work. I mean, there are aspects of them that I'm I like less than the overall thing. But by and large, this doesn't feel like work. My marriage does not feel like work. Being a mom does not feel like work. Um, do I have to put work in? I have to do things, obviously. But that labor of love thing is first and foremost for me. Now, the fact that Andre says it feels like work might mean that, might tell you a little something about me. I don't know. Am I reading into
It's
that?
work when there's some things you don't want to do, like eating right. I may not want to eat right today, but you want to eat right. So if we go be on the same page, I got to eat right, and I don't feel like that. In times like that, it can be challenging. If somebody's on a level and you're not ready to operate on that level, but you need to get there, that's when it's work. And parenting sometimes can be worse.
Yeah.
When they don't want to do right and you have to get them to another level.
Right. Right.
That can be difficult because you have to do it, tactfully. You can't just say what you want to say. I mean, you can say what you want to say.
Right, the old school way.
It may have the wrong impact on them.
Right.
You want to deal with them on the level the correct way and not make them shut down.
Exactly.
Because if you're too overbearing, then they will shut down, and you've lost them. You have to. There's a right way and a wrong way.
Yeah.
You can do it the wrong way. You can, but if you want it to work out, you have to do it the right way, and that may be difficult because you don't feel like putting that forth, putting forth that level of effort. I'm looking at my son as I say this.
He's in the room. Well, when it comes to parenting, I think that's another thing where somebody. I think when we listened to the radio and somebody was saying at one point they thought that the mom and the relationship should be the one doing the heavy lifting and he comes in later. No, God made husband and wives, moms and dads for a reason. You need them both. And one of the things I think is that as a parent, hopefully you get to notice is your child's needs. Like when Alex was young, Andre used to tell me all the time, "You're babying him, you're babying him." I'm like, I'm not babying him. This is his time to be nurtured. He's supposed to get all this right now. And sure enough, once puberty kicked in, he don't want to be up under me no more. He got his nurture, he got his love when he needed it during that season. And then he moved on. Now I can barely get him to say hello. But then you flip that. AJ was the independent child. He didn't want me kissing him. He didn't want me hugging him. He didn't know nothing that. Now, that he's older, it's like, you know what? He wants a little mommy love. He always wants a hug, or a kiss. I can't get Alex to do nothing. So each parent gives the child, I believe, what they need. And not only that, you get to see how they interact with each other. They're at first, Andre said, Alex, I babied him. I don't think I babied him. I think I basically nurtured him like I was supposed to. But he would come to me, for a lot of things. Now he prefers his dad for a lot of stuff. So, and when we're talking to Alex, I'm like, I know you respond better to your dad, so I let your dad be the one to handle these things because I know you will respond to him better than you will respond to me at this point. And I think all of that is one of the things that goes into having not just a happy marriage, but a happy family, functional family. It's not going to be perfect because nothing is with human beings, but it's necessary. And then there was this one more thing I wanted to say. What was the other thing you said that came to mind? You talked about oh, we don't have much time.
Say I don't know, but
yeah. He telling me my 5 minutes are up. And that's another thing. We get to know each other to the point where women get upset talking about their husbands don't listen. It's like if you pay attention, you'll see just how much time you have for him to pay attention. And I literally have 5 minutes. And I told Andre one time, I said, "Oh, my 5 minutes are up." And he thought I was kidding. He tired himself. And now it's the running thing. We will say your 5 minutes are up because we know we have run out of we have used up the other person's patience. But that's just one of the things that comes, with being married. You don't necessarily have to complain. He's an awesome listener, always has been. But at the same time, he was the only child, so he's used to his alone time. He's used to not listening to somebody go on and on and on. And has it changed me in some ways? I've adopted some of his ways, which he doesn't like. He's like, "You being secretive." I'm like, "I'm not being secretive. I'm just keeping stuff in because I don't want to bother you with it." And then he's adopted some of my ways. Like there are times when he'll pause the TV to go off people, which is something he generally hates to do. So we rub off on each other, I think, in good ways. And that's one of the things you want when you're in a relationship. You want somebody who's going to bring out the best in you and not the worst with you. I believe soulmates bring out the worst in you, but those who you are spiritually compatible with, because God is a spirit and God is love and he made us in his image. So we are spirits that love. the your spiritual mate is the person who brings out the best in you. And I thank God for having Andre find me. My final point, and I'm doing this because you started a little late, William,
Blame
is
him.
What?
yeah, I blame William today. Andre and I tend to blame each other.
Uh-huh.
uh,
Hey, young
but
lady, I started on time.
no, you played music to like 11:01 or 2. So but this is one thing.
Can't
Since
believe
this is a Christian program, I am going to bring Christ into it. The Bible says the man who finds a wife finds a good thing, and the blessing of the Lord is upon him. And so um I'm grateful to God that I have a God fearing husband, and that we are so in sync with each other that even when we weren't together, he had us both praying, for each other and praying to be found by each other. Andre's praying to find me. I was praying to be found. And, when we talked and we found those things out, that you were praying and I was praying. And even in terms of should we be together, when he was going to ask, was thinking about asking me, to make it official, both of us praying, being on opposite ends of the prayer line to the Lord brought us together. That makes a huge difference. Having the Lord be your foundation from the beginning, I think is part one of the most important things. But anyway, William, you said you wanted to ask something. What did you want to ask?
Yeah. Oh, before that, 1 minute and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
one minute. I can't believe this. I'm going to say this. I listened to the entire broadcast, and it was outstanding.
Oh,
Even though I'm single, I was intrigued by the conversation. A couple of things that you guys pointed out, and I know we're going over time here a little bit, but I'll give the boys, the teens, some extra time as well.
right.
One thing that you said is so important. You guys listen to one another.
Mhm.
That is so critical, I think, in a marriage and any type of relationship. And I noticed throughout the broadcast, and you couldn't stop laughing. You got so
We have fun. It's fun.
yeah. But
So
see, there are so many couples out here that can't stand one another,
true.
right? And but you guys have found a way, and laughter, and you spoke of mental health as well. We're not going to get into the depths of that too, but I can see how it can go either way. If you're in a
Mhm.
happy marriage, then that improves your mental health. But if you're in a bad marriage, I think that could cause some mental issues as far as that is concerned. But
Yeah.
Ann,
Yeah.
snoring, the snoring part, I had a question. I was listening to it and I said, wow, I want to ask her about, do either one of them snore and does that bother you? And you said, nope, doesn't bother you.
It doesn't. And he
Okay.
thinks it should, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
I hear people say music put them to sleep, but snoring, oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it
Uh,
does. It's
okay.
comforting.
and I can understand how you guys support one another. It was an outstanding show. I loved it. I don't get involved with what you schedule or your programming or anything like that or production of it. Like Mike said, I just push the buttons back here. But but no, this boy, I hope you consider doing a part two of this one sometime.
Oh, that's so sweet. Look at Andre. He like, bruh.
Talk to my agent. Yeah,
I'll talk to your agent, Andre.
yeah. We have to talk to him.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you've given me an idea, the both of you now. Looking at Andre like, yeah. At any rate, I want to get out of the way now because the teens do have a guest, and it's time for the Teens Talk Truth radio show, hosted by our favorite young men on the planet, our sons AJ and Alex Taylor. They discuss hot topics affecting teens in society today, and today, with their special guest, they're going to be talking about um, raising addiction resistant
Mm.
kids. So it's going to be an awesome interview with them as well. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Don't forget to sign up for the Eating as an Active Worship Ministries Health and Fitness course, and have a blessed 4th of July weekend, because we won't be here. We're going to have a good time next weekend. We're going to make it a 4-day thing. So y'all be blessed. We'll see you on the other side.
All right. Hey, very good. All right, guys. Hey, stay tuned.